Come on out to Mississauga, it's the greatest place around. Where on a quiet evening you can watch the sun go down. And if you should need a friend, there are plenty to be found. That's why everybody loves that good old Mississauga.
Hello, and thank you for joining us here on Ask a Historian. I'm Matthew Wilkinson, historian with Heritage Mississauga. Please send in your questions to history@heritagemississauga.org as we explore the fascinating stories of the city of Mississauga together. Like, subscribe, and follow us and stay up to date on all the heritage happenings with Heritage Mississauga. As part of this program, we will be exploring memories, moments, and milestones from the past 50 years with past and present civic leaders and citizens as part of the City of Mississauga's 50th anniversary. On this episode, we are excited to be joined by Chartered Professional Accountant Charles Chu. Charles is a director with the Mississauga Chinese Business Association and the long-serving treasurer with the Mississauga Arts Council. And on the program, we will explore his personal perspectives of moments and milestones for the City of Mississauga's 50th anniversary.
Glad to be part.
Well, thank you, Charles, for joining us here on our Moments and Milestones series with Heritage Mississauga. It's a fascinating way for us to explore, as we were saying, the evolution of our city, the stories that help shape our city, and I'm really appreciative of you taking the time to explore some of your own personal connections to the city here with us. First, let's jump right into it. When did Mississauga become home to you? What are your own connections to the city?
I've grown up here my entire life, basically. My family immigrated here from Hong Kong 1 year after I was born, and since then we put our roots down. We tried to get ourselves into the community and did our best to integrate and become both, residents of Mississauga and contributing to the Canadian cultural mosaic as a whole.
I always have this question of people that come, why Mississauga? Did you ever get that explained to you? Like, of all the places you could have settled when you came as a family, why Mississauga?
I honestly don't have a good response to that question.
Yeah.
I guess there would be another time that question could come up if you do end up interviewing Stephen or Irene. So
Yeah.
uh, maybe they'll be able to zero in on that a little more.
I always said that's where the plane landed, right? That's you
Yeah.
stay. So some of your when we look at back on the city's evolution, here we are, we're celebrating the 50th anniversary of the city. So looking back over the evolution of the city through your eyes, what are some of your earliest memories, having grown up here, of living in the city? Can you highlight some of the things that jump into your mind?
Well, most of my time growing up would be more around the Arundel area. So a lot of my memories were more focused around Arundel Park, going to various parts of the Credit River and walking along those paths there. But the community centers were a really great place for us to again get to know other people, learn about various skills classes. I took a lot of classes at those community centers, and I thought that was really helpful towards my upgrade my upbringing here.
Yeah.
I think the biggest highlights to me is just seeing the amount of options that are available now versus back then, and just if you know where to look, you'll find something you can do here for sure.
Right. What were the community centers? Was it Huron Park at the time?
Yeah, Huron Park was one.
Yeah.
Riverdale, sorry, River Grove, sorry, not
River Grove.
Riverdale.
Yep.
Yeah, because my family moved a little closer towards that area,
Okay.
and yeah, even Mississauga Valley Community Center was another one that we spent a lot of time at. Yeah, those were the main three for us.
I said you're pulling at my heartstrings. I'm an Arundel boy myself, and I grew up with Arundel Park as my backyard. So,
Yeah, we took the back trails in our community because I was more living in the Woodlands area at that time.
okay.
So there was all those little parts where you walk past the bike gates and they inadvertently end up in Arundel Park. And if you don't know where you're going, you might end
Yeah.
up at UTM and whatnot.
Out of sheer curiosity, what schools did you go to?
So I started off at St. Gerard,
Oh
and
yes. Yep.
then around middle school I went to Woodlands, and I stayed there for the enhanced program.
Yep.
I was offered a spot at Gordon Graydon because I qualified for the IBT program at the time, but
Okay.
Yeah, I think when we were weighing out our options, I think staying local was easier. That and my dad's office is around the corner, so it was really easy for him to just drop me off.
Well, you and I are alumni because I'm a Woodlands graduate myself, so it's
Oh, yeah, there we go.
so when you look at that, I mean you interacted with the growing city as a youngster, and you know the trails and paths in the Credit River Valley, they become kind of iconic in our city. But we've also seen in that same time period as you're going to school, we've seen the city grow, whether we recognized it or not. It grew exponentially in that period of time. Just sheer number of people coming in, but the developments that happened. Credit Woodlands was one of the older developments, but eventually gets kind of ringed by new development as the city grows and grows. I'm just wondering if you can talk about some of the changes you've seen in the city.
Um, I think the biggest change more than anything else because I spent a lot of my teen years in the Square One area,
Right,
so seeing what it was then versus now, seeing back then there was so much empty, like so much vacant land around that area, say
right,
next to the YMCA or right across from those condos near where the TNT supermarket is. Seeing like the MC being the M City being up there now, there's a lot of changes. Even back then, there was still some notable farmland. Even on, say, Mavis and Eglinton, there was that big abandoned, what we kind of rumored to be the haunted barn there.
I remember
And
it.
yeah, yeah, and there was that other one that was taken over, I think, by the Dufferin Peel Catholic School Board over on Britannia and Bristol.
Right,
Yeah, but all that has kind of slowly changed in the way of development, and seeing our skyline kind of go higher and higher means that, we have a lot more people in the city for us to service here. And it will be interesting to see how that infrastructure is going to help meet the demands of our population. Even the
right.
LRT, for example, there's a lot of construction there.
I was gonna say, I feel like we're on the cusp of a change that's going to dwarf all the change we've seen already. Like it feels like the city is bursting all of a sudden with activity in terms of development.
Yeah, and a lot of those things we've been kind of having as like pie in the sky dreams, but they're becoming more and more of a reality. Like, sure, we didn't get a subway like we've always like I've been hearing rumors about for over 20, 30 years, but
Very much.
we got the LRT, we got something, we got that transit way that's along there. So we're having some things to kind of meet the demand. So it's nice that we're seeing that there.
Right. So back to kind of your personal connections as you've grown and lived in the city here, and I know you followed your family into business, and you're active on your own fronts now in the city. Can you talk about some of the organizations or groups and clubs that you've been involved with in the city?
Yeah, the first one would be the Mississauga Chinese Business Association. I've been involved on and off because my father was a director there for a long time. So even before I was a teenager, I was helping with assembling some pamphlets and whatnot. Even when I got to my teen years, they put me in a mascot suit, and I was walking around in super hot weather and all that. So things like that. But I'm still even contributing my time there as well right now. I'm currently the treasurer there.
Okay.
And then I branched out as well to the Mississauga Arts Council. I've been the treasurer there for I think this will be my 10th year now. And
Mhm.
then yeah, both of these places have a lot of long history, a lot of stories that they could share in their own right in terms of kind of helping the people, the city, and kind of growing us in how we fit into the city as well.
Right. And you must have, being involved with Mac for 10 years like that. I mean, there's a group that's involved very much in the community, but I don't know if you can get a group that's more entrenched in the community in terms of activities and activism. I don't know if that's the right word, but really community building than the Mississauga Chinese Business Association. I mean, they've got long roots in being active here in the city of Mississauga. You must have seen so
Definitely.
much through them.
Yeah, no, there was a lot. There was a lot of changes that happened from the start to now, and coming up into my childhood, into adulthood, seeing I guess a little bit of the behind the scenes of Mississauga through that lens was always interesting. I remember some of the disasters that happened, earthquakes or whatever else, when we were out there trying to solicit support. The SARS crisis was another very difficult time for us in trying to um, address the both the health emergency and the public perception was definitely a challenge that they had to deal with during that time. Even when COVID kind of reared its ugly head, that was something that I was seeing a lot of the same brushstrokes that were happening at that time too. And just seeing our response to all of that has been definitely made a lot more of an impact than if nothing was done.
Phenomenal. And just I can't say enough for both those organizations, MAC and Mississauga Chinese Business Association, just to how involved they are in the community. So anyone out there, check out those organizations. Very much worthy causes and worthy entities, groups, if you will. Just when we look at kind of your own involvement in the city through those organizations, but other things that you've been involved with, I'm wondering if you can hat tip or pay tribute to some of those people, the individuals that have had a positive impact and, in your mind, have helped make the city even a more special place for their involvement.
Well, I think first and foremost it's going to have to be Hazel. Um, Hazel was the person that said, "How come we don't have a Chinese business organization here?" And then, with her word, it basically started within a year of that happening. From my recollection of the history over at MCBA, and Mac had a similar origin story as well.
Yep.
There was no arts council. Hazel said, "How come there isn't?" And then there you go, you got it. But not only Hazel, there's a lot of other people in these organizations and elsewhere that I've seen that put their time in there. In our pre-interview discussion, I mentioned Ron Duquette, who has name in Heritage, has name in Mac, has his name almost everywhere. And there's a lot of people that if you walk around City Hall, you'll see their photos there, but you will still see them in the city. Another example of that was Jake Deere. So those people and probably a whole ton of others that I'm forgetting right now, they all kind of had their own impact in both the organizations I'm involved with and the entire makeup of Mississauga itself. And yeah, we wouldn't be the same without them.
Oh, absolutely. I'm picturing the wall at City Hall that's all the citizens of the year, and it takes so many hands to do all of the things that take place in a city, and it's remarkable that we've had so many, I guess, driven and passionate people about living here, and continue and those that continue to, like we talked about Ron and Jake, who are still active in the city, right? Like so, there are so many, like you said.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you look around, like we looked at kind of some of the people that make the city special and how it's evolved in your eyes, and kind of some of those highlights. If you get, we're not generally in the prognostication business here at Heritage Mississauga, but looking forward, if we could look forward to the next 50 years of the city of Mississauga, what are some of the things that you perhaps would look forward to as a kind of a wish for the city for the future, if you will, or something you'd like to see take place in the city or have the city evolve? If we could look forward in 50 years, what kind of jumps to your mind of those things that might be coming down the road for the city?
I guess just extrapolating from my time growing up here, I always hear the term float around that we're not Toronto. But I hope in the next 50 years that we do grow and rival Toronto and even the rest of the GTA as being, the number one places that you can move to settle down with. Um, I hope in the back of my parents' minds when they chose Mississauga that they saw that growth and potential here as well. And yeah, no, I really have high hopes that we can have a lot more infrastructure and amenities to help support both work and play here.
Yeah. I mean, that's the ideal, right? You want to work, live, and play here and set your roots here and set your roots for your children here and that sort of thing. So, very much we see the city evolve right in front of our eyes, but at the same time, it's still the place we live and it's a place we want to live and we are all passionate about. So, I just want to say thank you for sharing your own ideas and stories with us. But your passion for the city, it comes through and how involved you are in the city's a better place for you for the activities that you do and the groups that you're with. And so just with that, I want to say thank you and for sharing some moments and milestones with us here at Heritage Mississauga.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for spending some time with us here on Ask a Historian. And thank you also to Charles Chu for sharing moments and milestones with us for the City of Mississauga's 50th anniversary. Like, subscribe, and follow us, and we will see you on future episodes of Ask a Historian with Heritage Mississauga.